right, City of Forest Park City Council meeting number 1452. Today is April 7th. It is 7 p.m. We're going to start by standing and saying the Pledge of Allegiance.
The flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, starting with item number 1 on the agenda, which is the roll call. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Adams, Brown,
Here.
Clark, Harrison,
Here.
Holt, here, Moore,
Here.
Sylvester.
Here.
All right, I need a motion to excuse council members Clark and Adams.
I motion to excuse Councilwoman Clark and Councilwoman Adams.
Second.
It's been moved and properly seconded. All those in favor, let it be known by the sound of voting aye. Aye. All right, motion passes, and then we'll adjust that if anyone joins us. Moving on to item number 2, which are the minutes. Has everyone received the minutes? Are there any changes or corrections to be made? All right, hearing none. We're going to move on to item number 3, which is presentations, and we have none. So we're going to go right along to item number 4, which is communications from the public. So this is the time for citizens to comment on matters before council or to ask questions of concern to them. So when recognized, please come forward to the podium, give your name and address, and then state your comments or questions. Council meetings are tape recorded for ease of transcription, and then comments are limited to 5 minutes. So if at this point, if anyone would like to address council, you can come up to the podium. There should be a sign-in sheet up there, and you can you have 5 minutes to address council.
Hi, good evening.
Good evening.
My name is Taylor Trout. I'm an attorney representing a marijuana dispensary that's located at 1233 Omniplex Drive. You know it as Story Cannabis. I'm here today to speak in opposition to item 11 that's on the agenda, which is resolution number 13-2025 regarding the conditional use application for a marijuana dispensary at 12181 Omniplex Court, which is merely a hop skip away from my client's marijuana dispensary. Being limited to 5 minutes, it's difficult for me to address everything that I'd like to address, so I'll just try to do it very quickly, hit
Yeah, please try.
high level matters. As you know, Forest Park's zoning code outlines 6 very specific and detailed standards that must be satisfied in order for a conditional use or special exception to be granted. I've been at every single public hearing on the conditional use application submitted by the applicant, King City Garden, and I've reviewed everything that Forest Park has provided to me in response to public record requests as far as that application goes. I haven't seen anywhere, and I've raised this at every single hearing, where those standards have been addressed by King City Gardens. Once has King City submitted any evidence or information in support of the standards, much less have they established that they meet all those standards. It's because they don't. I've presented at every one of those hearings substantially similar things that I'll say today, although today is far more abbreviated than what I've talked about in the past because of the 5 minutes. It's King City's burden to prove that they meet those standards, and they just haven't done that. This is largely because of the significant negative impact that a second dispensary located, and I've basically estimated it based upon cages to be about 1,000 feet away from my client's dispensary. This significant negative impact it will have on Story, a company that did everything right, followed all the rules, went through this process with you all, invested a significant amount of money in their dispensary. It's now up and running, it's doing well. Allowing a second dispensary so close does violate Forest Park's standards when it comes to conditional uses because of those reasons, but also because of the socioeconomic impact that it will have on Story and its workers, and because of safety issues. Again, I've addressed all of these in my prior presentations. King City's not addressed these. There's not been any presentation, any evidence submitted on how they meet the 6 standards. Not to mention 2 dispensaries so close together, and this is something that I've talked about, creates a high concentration of dispensaries in the area. It would be approximately 1 dispensary for every 10,000 people in the city of Forest Park. That's far more than Hamilton County as a whole. I would implore the council members to review the meeting minutes from the Planning Commission and also from the BZA for my presentation, for the full presentation. I'm happy to also answer any questions, but King City Gardens just has failed to meet their standards.
Thank you, Mr. Trout.
Mr. Mayor,
Yeah.
may I respond? With all due respect to Mr. Trout, the BZA considered the Planning Commission staff report, which recommended approval dated November 12, 2024. Within that report, the staff found that the criteria was met. The only dispute at the Planning Commission reviewed by BZA was the application of the zoning code regarding this conditional use. It states that it's an and, either, or situation. In a footnote indicates specifically that whether it's cultivation or retail distribution, whatever, a combination would be considered a single use.
Right.
And that was the dispute in front of the Planning Commission. They were misinterpreting our own
definition.
ordinance with that statute. And the other thing I want to point out about Mr. Trout is, of course, he's representing a competitor, and so he has an interest in the outcome, a bias. But both before the BZA and now tonight, we hear him say standards weren't met. It's going to have economic impact, safety impact, traffic impact, whatever it is, but no facts were presented to contradict what our own staff report indicated, which was part of the Planning Commission's original consideration.
All right. Thank you for that, John. Really quick, point of order. Do we need to amend the agenda, or do we just need to acknowledge in the minutes that Council Member Clark or Councilmember Adams has joined?
Yes, that should be indicated on the record.
Okay. All right. Thank you. All right. Thank you,
If
Mr.
I
Trout.
may, just briefly.
Well,
one
it's
statement in
5
response.
minutes have passed, so I mean, but we do appreciate your time, though.
Respectfully, I think I had a few minutes left. I just want to address.
Well,
one
you
thing.
started speaking at 7:02, and I do want to be respectful of everyone's time, and we do appreciate you coming in, and likewise, we also appreciate your business, so thank you. Is there anyone else who would like to address council at this time? All right. Hearing none, moving on to item number 5, which is reports from council members, and we are going to start with Councilmember Adams.
Thank you. Hello, everyone. I do apologize for being late. I threw my keys in the dumpster, so that's a discussion. Yeah. So, yes. So, thank you so very much. But at this time, Mayor, I do not have a report per se, but I am very excited about Tree City, or is it Arbor Day? Tree City or Arbor Day, they're both coming up, and I'll have exact dates for everyone. I just trying to get the keys out the dumpster just kind of got me going right now. But Tree City and Arbor Day are both coming up on behalf of beautification. We're very excited, and I'm a little foggy on the dates, and I do apologize for that. I'm a little rattled right now. But other than that, Mayor, I don't have any additional reports.
All right, thank you for that. And yes, Arbor Day is coming up, and we are a Tree City, and the Tree
Yes.
City celebration is
Yes.
also coming up.
Yes, they
which
are.
will be in, I believe,
Something-
Woodlawn.
Yes.
I believe
and-
it's going to be in
And
Woodlawn
sometime
this
in
year.
April, I think it's either the 12th or the
Mhm.
14th. So please forgive me. Like I said, I'm rattled about
Yes.
uh,
No,
climbing
you're
in the dumpster. That's
you're fine. I do not have any work session items. Would you like to add any, Councilman?
You know, Mayor, a few weeks past, I had wanted to give a presentation about some grants and things that I had found that may be of ease to our police department.
Mhm.
I would still like to do that. Over the past couple of weeks, we've had a couple of other things that have come up, and so that presentation just kind of took a back seat. So during our next work session next week, I would like to have just a few moments just to share a couple of things, if that's possible.
Absolutely. And actually, on that note, there is a grant for public safety that reminded me. I'll send to the I'll copy you and I'll send it to city administration. All right. Moving on to Councilmember Harrison.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. A couple weeks ago, myself and the city manager, we were invited to the launching of a brand-new church in our community, the Bethlehem Bhutanese United Methodist Church. They're housed at Forest Chapel, but it is a congregation that serves our members from Bhutan and Nepal. And we went to a nice service and treated us quite well, so welcome to the community. With that, I really don't have anything else right now. I know we do have some applications to look for through for different boards and commissions that we're going to sit down and get those people interviewed. And other than that, that's all I have, sir,
All right, thank you for that, council member. Do you have any work session items to add?
at this time.
All right, moving on to First Vice Mayor Holt.
Good evening, everybody. I don't have a report, but there are a couple of things that, well, it's basically regarding city taxes. I want to know, and it might even require Ms. Harlita to be here, I'm not sure, but how are overpayments of taxes, of income tax, how are they handled? You know, and how are dual cities, an employee living in Forest Park, working in another city, but the tax rate is the same?
Okay.
And how is that handled? Because I had somebody come to me and said, their tax base where they work is the same tax base as Forest Park. And
Okay.
I always thought that there was an offset there.
Okay, so I
They
can,
get a small, they do, but they don't get 100% credit for that.
yeah, there's a credit, and then for overpayments, you do get, Forest Park does, because I actually overpaid, and I got a check back of my overpayment, but what I can do is I'll add to the next work session. We can have another conversation about the finance department and
Because I
taxes.
kind of asked that question, and, you know, it's just that you got a credit,
It can be refunded or credited to the next year.
but I'm retired.
Oh, then, you have to, it's a.
And that was also mentioned, but there was nothing mentioned that there would be a refund.
Yeah,
I just need some clarity on that.
Yeah, to that point, I think it'll be a good exercise to go over how the credit applies, and then Harlita can show us the formula in real time and taking an example. So I'll add a finance and tax discussion to the next work session.
All right, thanks.
All right. Are there any other items you would like to the work session?
No, I'm good.
All right, moving on to Second Vice Mayor, Dr. Moore.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I do not have a report at this time.
All right. And would you like to add any work session items?
No, I do not.
All right, thank you, Dr. Moore. Moving on to Councilmember Sylvester.
Thank you, Mayor. At this time, do not have a report and no additional items to add to the agenda
Okay.
work session.
All right, thank you for that. That concludes item number 5. Moving on to item number 6, which is the mayor's report. So I'll be brief. As we know, Forest Park is in the 8th Congressional District, and Congressman Warren Davidson is actually opening up his office for municipalities within the 8th Congressional District to apply for federal funding and in next year's federal appropriations at FY 2026. So that deadline is actually approaching, and I forwarded that information to the city administration, but then also new Senator Bernie Moreno is also taking applications for the next fiscal year's appropriations. So I think that's really exciting that the federal government is opening up the opportunity for us to apply. And I think the city will be open to taking recommendations from council members on things that we should be applying for ahead of the deadline, which I believe is April 11th. So it's coming up really quickly. So if there's anything that you think that the city should be applying for specifically as it relates to funds that we can get from the federal government to potentially match projects or funding that we've already have, just be sure to email Takia. Email Takia as much as possible, as many ideas that you have, and then copy Don on there. All right. And there's also another one. It might be from the state, but is in relation to public safety for as much as up to $300,000. And I'll be sure to forward that email to you as well, Don. In addition to that, as we know, the city of Forest Park is going to be the host once again of the annual African American Wellness Agency's African American Male Wellness Day event, and that is going to be July 19th. So there are going to be health screenings. There will be a 5K walk and a run. There will be plenty of vendors. So we just want residents to put that on their calendars now and then come out as much as possible. So when they came last year, they actually said that they loved the city of Forest Park so much they wanted to do it again. Then they actually, honored our city and by saying we want to do it, as many times as possible, but then making me honorary chair. So again, July 19th, please come out to the African American Male Wellness Day. And I do not have any work session items to add, and that concludes my report. So moving on to item number 7, we're going to hear from our city manager, Mr. Don Jones.
Yes, Mayor, I'll keep it fairly quick and just give some updates on some of the things that are going on over the next couple of weeks. I want to remind everyone that it is Chipper Week this week. Make sure you have your chipper pile of yard waste loose at the curb by the street for pickup. Remember, your pile should be clearly visible from the street, and there's a 10-minute limit for the collection. Now we can go a little bit over if we need to. That's just a good eye. If it's much bigger than that, it's probably a little too big. Breakfast with the Easter Bunny is coming up as well. Bring your family to Frisch's on Hamilton Avenue this Saturday, April 12th, from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. Fun breakfast with the Easter Bunny. Please note that breakfast is not included in the event, and attendees will need to pay for their own meals, but it's a great opportunity to have breakfast with the Easter Bunny. Lots of games, giveaways, candy, things like that for the kids, and it's just a lot of fun, and it's always packed, and the line's always out the door. So we want to thank the Hamilton Avenue Frisch's for stepping up, again, for the second year after the one on Winton Road closed, again, for hosting this. So again, that's the Hamilton Avenue Frisch's this Saturday, the 12th, from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. We also started a walking club every Wednesday morning from 10 a.m. to 11 p.m., 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. We're only going to walk for an hour. It's along the walking path in Central Park. It's a great way to enjoy the outdoors, stay active, and meet some other folks in the community. You don't have to register, just show up. We're also beginning our first meeting we've talked about it over the last couple of weeks, community theater meeting. We're looking to start an arts program, a theater program, but it's all going to be volunteer and resident-led. So if you're interested in getting on the ground floor of this and you want to make something like this happen, you need to show up at this meeting, April 22nd, 6 p.m. at the Senior Center. Everyone's welcome. Again, this will be an interesting group, and I think it'll be a lot of fun to establish a theater program here for our community. There's a lot of talented folks here at the high school and in the community. So if you're interested in taking part in that, that's April the 22nd, 6 p.m. at the Senior Center. Join us this Friday again to Mrs. Adams. Ms. Adams talked earlier about Arbor Day. Friday, April 25th, 10 a.m. Is Celebrate Arbor Day with a special ceremony in the Picnic Grove. We are rededicating the Picnic Grove, and we'll be honoring the mayors and former mayors by renaming the grove the Mayor's Grove. Don't miss the special occasion. So everyone, again, is invited, April 25th, 10 a.m. in Central Park in what will be the new Mayor's Grove. The community garden is starting up again this year. Join us for a meeting at the Senior Center, April 8th. That's tomorrow at 6 p.m. Learn how to garden and participate in the community garden. Explore a way to grow your own food. It's a great opportunity to get involved and discover gardening tips for all skill levels. There's no commitment other than your time and your dirty hands. So come ready to work and participate. It should be a lot of fun. The bids for the street opening program will be open this Wednesday. It's an important step to improving our community infrastructure, and local contractors are encouraged to participate. And if you notice any potholes in your area, which there are a few, if not many, be sure to call the city to report them. We want to get on them as quickly as possible. Timely reporting helps ensure that our roads are safe and in good conditions for the residents. So if you see them, just give us a call here at the city, and we'll put them on the list, and we'll get to them as quick as we can. Other than that, I'll be answering any questions if anybody has any.
Any questions for the city manager?
Is the balance of Kemper Road going to be on the next streetscape?
I don't think it is. I think we're applying for that this year. Or the end of Kemper, yeah, down toward the bridge.
Yeah, because personally, I don't think it could be filled
Anymore holes.
anymore.
Yeah, we didn't get approved for that last year
Yeah.
when we submitted it for the grant. So we're going to be resubmitting that. Sharon is the big road this year for the grants.
Oh, yeah, that'll be really, really good. But then remember, we did already last year do a lot of Kemper from
Yeah,
Wynn
that part.
down there to Ken, and we did Ken as well. So I think Sharon will be a good priority.
We did it in
All right.
2 phases. We wanted to have the second phase, but we didn't get approved for the second phase.
Yeah,
So we have to go, we're going to resubmit it. We think we'll be successful.
yeah.
That might take another year before that funding comes
To
through.
that end, especially the portion around the old library, that is so I think that's good to do Sharon Road as a priority. All right, moving.
Take it all the way to the end.
Good, good. Moving on to item number 8, which is our other reports. We'll hear from our law director, Mr. John Wyckoff.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Since the last meeting, I discussed an issue with the police department, gave some direction regarding people, if you think of the front of your driveway next to the street called the apron, to avoid getting tickets blocking the sidewalk, people were parking their car on the apron with the rear end of the car sticking out in the street. They weren't sure how to handle it. I pointed out that we have an ordinance which is obstruction of travel lanes, and since a portion of the vehicle is out in the road, it's obstructing the travel lane. So hopefully we'll be able to, I also advise, give a warning the first time, because obviously these people think they're beating the sidewalk issue, but to explain that they can't have their vehicle parked in the street unless it's parallel to the curb. With Mr. Jones, I reviewed the purchase agreement for 1990 Waycross. Also, our former mayor, Wayne Coates, lives across the street from a gentleman who has had trouble taking care of his property. We've been working very hard on that. I've been working with John Langenheim, going through the prosecutorial stage, in each step getting him to fix something. He's slowly but surely fixing things. And then there was an issue about the once-a-year recommendation, or I'm sorry, notice that the city manager has to put in a paper publication regarding tall grass, weeds, that type of thing. And I reviewed the agreement with JA Development. Also addressed an issue we're having with subpoenas to gambling organizations for information regarding our taxpayers who might win legal gambling funds, but that's taxable here in the city of Forest Park. And then finally, there's an issue about a construction pile here in Forest Park and getting the owner of that property or the user of that property to clean that construction pile up. If there are any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Okay. All right, any question on our law director? All right, we're going to go to our other report from our clerk of council. We're going to hear from Ms. Takia Bailey.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'd like to report that ordinance numbers 03-2025 through 11-2025, as well as resolutions number 11-2025 through 13-2025 were posted as required, and that concludes my report.
All right, thank you for that, Ms. Bailey. Moving on to item number 9, which is unfinished business and general orders. And I need, actually, there's nothing there, so I'm going to move on to item number 10, which is new business, and we're going to need a motion to suspend. Is there a motion?
I make a motion to suspend the rules requiring the reading in full and read for the first time by title only ordinance number 03-2025 through 11-2025.
Second.
It has been moved and properly seconded. Is there any further discussion?
Only that these ordinances were posted 6 days prior to the meeting.
All right, thank you for that. First Vice Mayor, will the clerk please call the roll on the motion to suspend?
Adams,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Harrison.
Yes.
Holt,
Yes.
Moore,
Yes.
Sylvester.
Yes.
All right, motion passes 6-0. Will the clerk please read ordinance number 03-2025 by title only?
Ordinance number 03-2025, an ordinance providing for the issuance of not to exceed 8,434,000 various purpose bond anticipation notes by the city of Forest Park, Ohio, in anticipation of the issuance of bonds of the city and declaring an emergency.
All right, thank you for that, Ms. Bailey. Is there a motion? Councilmember Sylvester.
Yes, I move to adopt ordinance number 03-2025.
Second.
It has been moved and properly seconded. Is there any further discussion, Councilmember?
Yes, Mayor, you know, last year during this time, we were going through these ordinance, and, you know, it almost crippled me a little bit with my voice. And our city manager had to step in and help me out there. And so I think the finance department took a little bit at ease, and so this discussion that we're going to give is going to be tailored to all of our ordinance from A to I. So, but I know that's not
Yeah, the next
in
9
one.
of them.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So, but just wanted to make that statement there. I know they was concerned that I might lose my voice again. All right, city, I'm ready. So, so in this discussion, with these ordinance, they are to issue new and renewed notes for the city totaling $9.619 million in 2025. The current notes outstanding total $9.947 million in principal plus interest, and is matured comes due date on May the 22nd, 2025. The budget includes planned paydown of $1.793 million. The new notes being issued totaled $1.465 million. The details of the notes outstanding, their related paydowns, and the notes amount being renewed are listed in the attachments to the memorandum. So with that statement and tailored to our ordinance for tonight, I motion that we adopt ordinance number 03-2025.
Thank you for that, Councilmember. Will the clerk please call the roll on the motion to adopt?
Brown,
Yes.
Harrison.
Yes.
Holt,
Yes.
Moore.
Yes.
Sylvester.
Yes.
Adams.
Yes.
All right, ordinance number 03-2025 passes 6-0. Will the clerk please read ordinance number 04-2025 by title only?
Ordinance number 04-2025, an ordinance providing for the issuance of not to exceed 7,269,000 various purpose bonds anticipation notes by the city of Forest Park, Ohio, in anticipation of the issuance of bonds of the city and declaring an emergency.
Thank you for that, Ms. Bailey. Is there a motion, Councilmember Sylvester?
Yes, I move to adopt ordinance number 04-2025.
Second.
It has been moved and properly seconded. Any further discussion?
That this ordinance is also tailored under the main discussion that was previously stated.
All right, thank you. Will the clerk please call the roll on the motion?
Harrison.
Yes.
Holt.
Yes.
Moore.
Yes.
Sylvester.
Yes.
Adams.
Yes.
Brown.
Yes. Ordinance passes 6-0. Will the clerk please read ordinance number 05-2025?
An ordinance number 05-2025, an ordinance providing for the issuance of not to exceed 1,185,000 real estate acquisition bond anticipation notes, Series 2025, by the city of Forest Park, Ohio, in anticipation of the issuance of bonds of the city and declaring an emergency.
All right, thank you. Is there a motion, Councilmember Sylvester?
Yes, I move to adopt ordinance number 05-2025.
Second.
It has been moved and properly seconded. Is there any further discussion?
Yes, sir, this ordinance is also tailored under the main discussion.
All right. Thank you for that, Councilmember. Now, will the clerk please call the roll on the motion to adopt?
Holt.
Yes.
Moore.
Yes.
Sylvester.
Yes.
Adams.
Yes.
Brown.
Yes.
Harrison.
Yes.
All right. Motion passes 6-0. Will the clerk please read ordinance number 06-2025 by title only?
Ordinance number 06-2025, an ordinance providing for the issuance of not to exceed 80,000 park improvement bond anticipation notes by the city of Forest Park, Ohio, in anticipation of the issuance of bonds of the city and declaring an emergency.
Thank you, Ms. Bailey. Is there a motion, Councilmember Sylvester?
Yes, I move to adopt ordinance number 06-2025.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there any further discussion?
Yes, sir, that this ordinance is also included in the main discussion.
All right, will the clerk please call the roll?
Moore,
Yes.
Sylvester,
Yes.
Adams,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Harrison,
Yes.
Holt.
Yes.
All right, motion to adopt passes 6-0. Will the clerk please read ordinance number 7-2025 by title only?
Ordinance number 07-2025, an ordinance providing for the issuance of not to exceed 170,000 stormwater improvement bond anticipation notes by the city of Forest Park, Ohio, in anticipation of the issuance of bonds of the city and declaring an emergency.
Is there a motion, Councilmember Sylvester?
Yes, I move to adopt ordinance number 07-2025.
Second.
All right, it's been moved and properly seconded. Is there any further discussion?
That this ordinance also is included in our main discussion.
I think we might need the clerk to read that one again. I'm just messing with you. Will the clerk please call the roll on the motion to adopt?
Sylvester,
Yes.
Adams,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Harrison.
Yes.
Holt,
Yes.
Moore,
Yes.
One more.
one miss.
She's gone, everybody's here.
Oh, you started with, okay. All right, looks like, all right, ordinance number 07-2025 passes 6-0. All right, now will the clerk please read ordinance number 08-2025 by title only?
Ordinance number 08-2025, an ordinance providing for the issuance of not to exceed $299,000 municipal building improvement bond anticipation notes by the city of Forest Park, Ohio, in anticipation of the issuance of bonds of the city and declaring an emergency.
All right, thank you, Ms. Bailey. Is there a motion, Councilmember Sylvester?
Yes, I move to adopt ordinance number 08-2025.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded. Any further discussion?
Yes, under the same principles of the previous discussion, for 299,000 for this ordinance.
All right, will the clerk please call the roll on the motion to adopt?
Adams,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Harrison.
Yes.
Holt,
Yes.
Moore,
Yes.
Sylvester.
Yes.
Motion passes 6-0. Will the clerk please read ordinance number 09-2025 by title only?
Ordinance number 09-2025, an ordinance providing for the issuance of not to exceed $616,000 street improvement bond anticipation notes by the city of Forest Park, Ohio, in anticipation of the issuance of bonds of the city and declaring an emergency.
Is there a motion, Councilmember Sylvester?
Yes, I move to adopt ordinance number 09-2025.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Any further discussion?
No further discussion.
All right, will the clerk please call the roll on the motion to adopt?
Brown,
Yes.
Harrison.
Yes.
Holt,
Yes.
Moore,
Yes.
Sylvester,
Yes.
Adams.
Yes.
All right, motion passes 6-0. Will the clerk please read ordinance number 10-2025 by title only?
Ordinance number 10-2025, an ordinance providing for the issuance of not to exceed $885,000 real estate acquisition bond anticipation notes, Series 2023-2025 renewal by the city of Forest Park, Ohio, in anticipation of the issuance of bonds of the city and declaring an emergency.
All right, thank you, Ms. Bailey. Is there a motion, Councilmember Sylvester?
Yes, I move to adopt ordinance number 10-2025.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion?
No further discussion?
All right, thank you. Will the clerk call the roll on the motion to adopt?
Harrison.
Yes.
Holt.
Yes.
Moore.
Yes.
Sylvester.
Yes.
Adams.
Yes.
Brown.
Yes. All right, motion passes 6-0. Now, will the clerk please read ordinance number 11-2025 by title only?
Ordinance number 11-2025, an ordinance providing for the issuance of not to exceed $300,000 real estate acquisition bond anticipation notes by the city of Forest Park, Ohio, in anticipation of the issuance of bonds of the city and declaring an emergency.
All right, thank you, Ms. Bailey. Is there a motion, Councilmember Sylvester?
Yes, sir, I move to adopt ordinance number 11-2025.
Second.
It has been moved and properly seconded. Is there any further discussion?
No further discussion, Mayor.
All right, will the clerk please call the roll on the motion to adopt?
Holt,
Yes.
Moore,
Yes.
Sylvester,
Yes.
Adams,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Harrison.
Yes.
All right, ordinance number 11-2025 passes 6-0. And I'm going to need another motion to suspend.
I'd like to make a motion to suspend the rules requiring a reading in full and read for the first time by title only. Resolution numbers 11-2025 through 13-2025.
Second.
All right, it's been moved and seconded. Is there any further discussion?
And these resolutions were posted 6 days prior to the meeting.
All right, thank you for that, First Vice Mayor. All right, will the clerk please call the roll on the motion to suspend?
Moore,
Yes.
Sylvester,
Yes.
Adams,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Harrison.
Yes.
Holt.
Yes.
All right, motion to suspend passes 6-0. Will the clerk please read resolution number 11-2025 by title only?
Resolution number 11-2025, a resolution designating representatives to the Hamilton County Tax Incentive Review Council.
All right, is there a motion, Councilmember Harrison?
Yes, I move that we adopt resolution number 11-2025.
Second.
All right, it's been moved and properly seconded. Is there any further discussion?
Yes, sir. This is a simple housekeeping item that appears on our agenda every year. The Hamilton County Tax Incentive Review Committee reviews commercial and industrial tax incentives for compliance with investment and job commitments. The City Council must appoint 2 members of this committee annually, both of whom must be residents. This resolution appoints the same representatives as in prior years. Mayor Aaron Brown and City Manager Don Jones. The resolution is in order, and I urge its passage.
All right, thank you for that, Councilmember Harrison. Will the clerk please call the roll on the motion to adopt?
Sylvester,
Yes.
Adams,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Harrison.
Yes.
Holt,
Yes.
Moore.
Yes.
All right, motion to adopt passes 6-0. Will the clerk please read resolution number 12-2025 by title only?
Resolution number 12-2025, a resolution authorizing the city manager to enter into a contract with Danellen McCarthy to provide copier and printer equipment and manage print service.
All right, thank you, Ms. Bailey. Is there a motion, Councilmember Adams?
Yes, I move for adoption of resolution number 12-2025.
Second.
All right, it's been moved and properly seconded. Now, is there any further discussion, Councilmember?
Yes, sir. I urge the adoption of, number 12-2025. And this resolution authorizes the city manager to accept and execute any necessary agreements with Donalyn McCarthy for the provision of 7 copiers and 7 managed printers under a 5-year lease for the city of Forest Park.
All right, thank you for that, Councilmember. Will the clerk please call the roll on the motion to adopt?
Adams,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Harrison,
Yes.
Holt,
Yes.
Moore,
Yes.
Sylvester.
Yes.
All right, resolution number 12-2025 passes 6-0. Now, will the clerk please read the resolution number 13-2025 by title only?
Resolution number 13-2025, a resolution accepting the recommendation of the Board of Zoning Appeals to reverse in part the Planning Commission's denial of a conditional use for a marijuana dispensary at 12181 Omniplex Court.
Thank you for that, Ms. Bailey. Is there a motion? Second Vice Mayor, Dr. Moore.
Yes. I move to adopt resolution number 13-2025.
Second.
All right, it's been moved and properly seconded. Now, is there any further discussion?
Yes, the BZA held a public meeting on March the 10th to consider an appeal by King City Gardens of the Planning Commission's denial of conditional use for a licensed marijuana dispensary in a portion of their building. The BZA voted 3-1 to partially reverse the Planning Commission's decision, granting conditional use by retaining the conditions of operations that were proposed by the Planning Commission. This resolution will put the BZA decision into effect according to the procedures contained in the zoning code. This resolution is in order, and I urge its passage.
Thank you for that, Dr. Moore. Will the clerk please call the roll on the motion?
Brown,
Yes.
Harrison.
Yes.
Holt,
Yes.
Moore,
Yes.
Sylvester,
Yes.
Adams.
Yes.
All right, resolution number 13-2025 passes 6-0. All right, and then I'll do this. I make a motion to amend the agenda and add as item M, under new business, a motion to convene executive session. I need a second.
Second.
All right, it's been moved and properly seconded. We're just going to amend the agenda because we're going to have to go into an executive session. But first, we need to vote on this amendment, and this will be a roll call. So will the clerk please call the roll on the motion to amend?
Harrison.
Yes.
Holt.
Yes.
Moore.
Yes.
Sylvester.
Yes.
Adams.
Yes.
Brown.
Yes. All right, so we're going to amend the agenda, and then I'll also make this. So I make a motion to convene an executive session to discuss confidential business information of an applicant for economic development assistance. I need a second.
Second.
All right, it's been moved and properly seconded. We had to amend the agenda first. It's been moved and properly seconded. Will the clerk please call the roll on the motion to?
Holt.
Yes.
Moore.
Yes.
Sylvester.
Yes.
Adams.
Yes.
Brown.
Yes.
Harrison.
Yes.
All right, we're going to go into executive session, and during executive session, no official business will be taken during the executive session. So at this time, we'll just go upstairs. I'm sorry.
Mr. Mayor, just for clarification, so Mr. Trout doesn't overthink this, this does not involve either of the dispensaries that were
Okay.
earlier discussed.
Yeah, this is not, it's about something different. But no official business will be taken, no votes will be taken. Council will go upstairs to discuss an applicant for economic development assistance. And then when we come back, we will actually end council, because this is the last item on the agenda. So